Morning, my name is Skylar Midden. I'm the Quality Assurance Section Manager for the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Fuel Division, also known as ATFD. The ATFD processes several of the larger excise taxes for the Illinois Department of Revenue, such as alcohol, tobacco, cannabis cultivators, the motor fuel tax, and also the motor fuel use tax. Last fiscal year, we brought in over $3.9 billion, and most of our taxpayers file and pay electronically. There are three processing sections that work hard processing returns and payments within ATFD. They also provide customer service to taxpayers and remitters alike. We will visit each of these sections in more detail. 2025 was a big year for changes in the alcohol and tobacco processing section. Tobacco uniformity brought in new reporting requirements for the other tobacco products tax. Other tobacco products changed from 3 different tax rates to now it's all under a single tax rate as of July of 2025. The definition of tobacco products was also expanded to include alternative nicotine products. And then also the FDA allowed an exception for smoking cessation products. This past year, the department implemented tobacco uniformity, a path promoted by the Federation of Tax Administrators through partnerships with government and industry. The purpose is to implement efficient and effective reporting and remittance of tobacco taxes, minimize tobacco tax evasion, and act as an information resource to stakeholders. The common definitions are terms generally used by tobacco tax administrators and industry and are meant to inform users, promote understanding, and to facilitate discussion between the participants. We implemented tobacco uniformity for Form TP1, which is for reporting other tobacco products, also including both moist snuff and electronic cigarettes. Tobacco uniformity rolled out in December of 2024, with the January 2025 Form TP1 return as the first to be filed using the new uniformity format. Here's more information regarding the changes specifically to the tax on tobacco products. Effective July 1st of 2025, the rate is now 45% of the wholesale price, whether the OTP sold or disposed of is electronic cigarettes, moist snuff, or general OTP. The definition of nicotine and alternative nicotine products is further defined. Products are taxable whether the nicotine in those products is naturally derived or synthetically created. Alternative nicotine products that are not FDA approved, such as smoking cessation products such as nicotine gum, pouches, lozenges, and dissolvable strips are now taxed also at the 45% of the wholesale price. Here's a list of some of the common errors for the alcohol and tobacco processing section. In particular, it is important for those filing tax returns for the liquor, cigarette, and tobacco taxes to show all of their taxable transactions on their respective schedules. This includes purchases and sales when this information is required. Now on to motor fuel. July 1st of 2019, the motor fuel tax rate increased from 19 cents per gallon to 38 cents per gallon, with an annual provision that the rate will be reevaluated each July 1st. Since this change, over the past several years, it has changed from 19 cents per gallon to 38 cents to the current rate of 48.3 cents per gallon of gasoline. The motor fuel industry is complicated and vast. Not every state operates the same, and some states tax at the rack, the terminal, and the pipeline. Illinois does not. We are a distributor state, meaning our point of taxation is from companies licensed as distributors and receivers. Illinois entrusts the distributors and receivers to collect the tax on behalf of the state. Then the distributors and receivers remit the tax to the state on returns each month. Some of the common errors for the motor fuel tax return is Illinois requires a stick or meter reading for fuel inventory. Only using book inventories can lead to big discrepancies in reporting. Also, it is imperative to make sure the ending inventory from the prior month matches the beginning inventory of the current month. Motor fuel also processes non-highway refund claims. Claims must be filed no later than 2 years from the date the tax was paid by the claimant. And if the claimant is a motor fuel distributor, the claim must be filed no later than 1 year after the date on which the tax was paid. Other ways that only licensed distributors and suppliers can make tax-free sales of motor fuel are sales made to a municipal corporation owning and operating a local transportation system for public service in that state, and also sales of dyed diesel fuel to the end user of the fuel, who is not a licensed distributor or supplier for non-highway purposes. Now switching over to the motor fuel use tax section. The International Fuel Tax Agreement, also known as IFTA, is a cooperative agreement among the lower 48 United States and 10 Canadian provinces to simplify reporting motor fuel use tax by motor carriers that operate in one or more jurisdictions. The licensing for IFTA revolves around the definition of a qualified motor vehicle. A qualified motor vehicle is a vehicle used, designed, or maintained for transportation of persons and property, and having 2 axles and a gross vehicle weight or registered gross vehicle weight exceeding 26,000 pounds, having 3 or more axles regardless of weight, or is used in combination when the gross vehicle or registered gross vehicle weight of such combination exceeds 26,000 pounds. IFTA returns are filed quarterly. Fleet totals are reported on quarterly returns. Some of the common errors for these are the miles per volume. If the miles per volume are not reasonable for the qualified motor vehicle, check the number for the fuel volume used to calculate the miles per gallon. Also estimating the miles and fuel volume. IFTA reporting requires good record keeping, and the reporting of actual amounts rounded to the nearest whole mile and whole fuel volume. Estimates are not acceptable. IFTA licensees are expected to maintain fleet records for 4 years. These include distance records, fuel records, and trip sheets. In closing, I'll share some of the Illinois IFTA facts, with Illinois being the 4th largest IFTA carrier population in the 58 jurisdiction agreement. Illinois licensed over 18,000 IFTA carriers. We issued over 264,000 IFTA decals last year. Illinois licensed IFTA carriers reported almost 13.9 billion miles traveled in all 58 jurisdictions, and just under 7 billion miles were traveled in Illinois by the licensed IFTA carriers from all 58 jurisdictions. Thank you all very much for your time.